Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. Yeah, I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the Wake up, let out the sheets. You can't go out, man, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the Yeah, I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but mans keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
Listen here, motherfuckers.
What are we doing? Come on.
Listen here.
He's doing a thing, Billy.
I'm not doing a thing. There's not a thing
out of the
being
way,
done
clear
right
out.
now.
I'm supposed to say that word.
Closeout game is what we got right now.
Mm.
We're in a closeout situation. I need everybody focused. I feel like we had 3 good shows. 3 wins.
3 dubs.
3 dubs. Time to get the sweep. Some decisions have been made today in order to facilitate the sweep. First of all, I want to welcome Game 1 Jess back. Hell of a job. Game 1 Jess has returned for the closeout situation. Thank you, Jess. Billy back in the EP seat. Don't blow it, Billy. All right? Don't blow it.
Billy's already mad.
It's what?
Huh?
I am?
Because you said the F word.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, no, we are Dominique and I, if you must know, are not on the same page because he was walking around doing this before, saying today we're going for the sweep, and I said, Game 2. I don't know about that one. I said we can go for a series win. I'm not sure we're going for a sweep here.
Just a quick refresher. What happened in Game 2?
Don't worry about Game 2. Don't worry about Game 2. All right, fine. We're up 2-1 in a 5-game series. How about that?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, worst case, you got a split.
I
I'm
didn't
not hoping
say-
for a split.
Okay. Forget the sweep.
Was Game 2 the C rings?
No.
That was Game 3. It was a
dude,
blowout.
That was
That
a
was
blowout.
That was like,
game
you remember what the Celtics did to the Mavs?
Right.
Yeah, that's what that was.
Game 2 was you guys recounting your dinner longer than your dinner took.
Oh, yeah. That was
that's a lot
Game 2 was high-level sports business conversation.
Okay. I'll take that as an L. I'll take it as an L.
Some
I
of
don't
us
take
have
that-
I don't.
Game 5 tomorrow, by the way.
Oh, we're not worried about that. We burned the boats. We burned the boats already.
We're 3-0.
Yeah.
I don't take sports business high-level discussion as an L.
But seriously, though, Tony, in for the first time this week. Don't blow it, man.
Don't blow it. What do you think I'm here for?
It's to blow it?
Nah. You brought me in to close out. That's what I'm here for. to close it out.
We got the
Do what you
closer. The closer, Pretty Boy Tone. Also,
I'm the only one clapping for this part of the
I'm
bonus.
clapping too. I'm
Okay,
clapping.
all
I'm
right.
clapping with my heart.
Okay.
Also, there was a decision made by the higher ups in order to put us in the best position to win this this important closeout game. There's a decision made, Pablo.
Yeah.
About the starting lineup.
Look, we established a starting rotation. I believe in Game 3.
Yeah, I think so. Game 3 starting rotation.
And we established that David Sampson was not an ace. And so David Sampson is not.
He hates you so much.
He's just not on the side of the glass today. I'm afraid to make eye contact with him.
So
I'm
uncomfortable.
not looking.
All right, I know how to fix it. All right, closeout game. So listen, a couple things we want to get to today. At some point, we'll talk about how Pablo was attacked by the nerds on the internet, which was awesome. Also, would like to.
Different nerds, though.
Yeah. It was nerd versus nerd.
I have things I need to say.
It was a little nerd community attack. We got to talk about the sex segment backlash because there was some of that. We also have a very special segment at some point today, and I'm calling Sampson Appreciation segment. We got a whole segment, even though David Sampson does not believe certain things need to have special days or months. We have a special segment just for you, David Sampson. What do you think about that?
Oh boy.
It's giving us the silent treatment.
We put him behind the glass. We said this at the end of Game 3,
All right.
and we did it.
I feel like that I got nothing to say to them. I'm going to focus very much on being here, which I enjoy. I don't know who the higher-ups are. I don't know what they're talking about. I walked in, and this is what I was told to do, and I'm a team. It's called being
The
a team
higher-ups
player.
are the 66-inchers.
That's
You
uncalled
just won't
for.
stop, Pablo. You are so cocky that it's really quite staggering.
You're also like
Different
you're like a
segment.
68.5 incher. What are we talking about here?
And 3/4.
Are we measuring height in inches now? What the fuck happened yesterday?
Yeah.
That was game 2, I think.
That was game 2 when David Sampson told us how tall he was in inches. And we were confused because we've never heard that except for babies.
Haven't you ever heard when babies say, "How old's your child?"
Yeah.
Oh, 37 months.
Yep.
You know, I've heard it with horses too.
Yeah, big stud. David Sampson, a stud. A stud.
Pleasuring everybody in sight.
But only quickly, so then you can go back to whatever you had to do.
Oh, yeah. Jess has some thoughts about yesterday that I'm sure we'll get to at some point.
Yeah, also 70 3/4 of an inch
Oh, you did the math?
for your boy. Yeah.
Nerd.
Definitely Googled it.
All right. Team USA played last night. We're going to talk about that and how confident we should be after an underwhelming performance. But before that, I think we need to dedicate today's show to one of our own who's not here today, who is celebrating a very special birthday. Happy birthday, Roy Belly.
And happy birthday to him. I don't care. Good luck.
The way you started that sounded like you were not about to wish him a happy birthday,
That he
but
died?
maybe, yeah.
I mean, on the inside. I love Roy.
I think the Panthers when brought him back to life. a
Oh,
little
that's
bit.
right.
He's been happy.
I'm seeing with David, by the way, what Roy does have an objection to, which is that the lighting isn't great. It's just he's just sort of like in sort of like a imagine
You know
if you're,
what? David right now in that darkness looks like he is a magician just off stage that we're about to let enter and do a trick. Don't he have a pick a card, any card face? I don't know if it's the color of the hair.
I'm going to go the entire show and not look at Pablo one time. I can promise you that.
I think it's the widow's peak.
Oh, it's the peak. Do magician? Yeah.
Slick back.
You do look like you're like
Whitty also had kind of a magician vibe to him because of the widow's peak and the slick back black hair.
the dark hair with the slick back. I always thought the widow's peak gave you a more of a.
I'm not here to do cranial analysis of magicians,
Okay.
but I'm sensing a trend.
I do want to talk about, speaking of magic,
Look at this guy hosting.
I want to talk
Give it up for
about-
Dominic Foxworth, everybody. Just like settling into the host chair in Game 4.
I can't stay here the whole time. I'm going to have to switch. I don't know if anyone in the shipping container or anyone in this room at some point want to take a couple segments because I'm a little tired. It's a long week of danning, and it's not easy to Dan.
Oh, my God.
It's not easy to Dan
So
all
much.
week.
We've been danning
I've
more
been
than anyone should dan.
Danning so hard. I brought my beautiful swan, the vanilla snack, Charlie Kravitz, to stand by me. I appreciate you, dog. You've been holding it down all week.
Thank you. I don't know if you've gone full Dan. No.
I haven't.
You haven't shown enough empathy. You could up the empathy a tiny bit today if you want to go full Dan.
I would like, at some point, I remember one of the bits from this show was like the scale of altercations. Like, I feel like we need to institute an empathy scale for Dan so that we can rate him when we're listening to him and he goes too far. We need to have names for these things so we can tell him, like today, Dan, let's throttle the empathy back to.
You got 3 steps today.
Okay.
More empathy,
Okay.
more explaining to the audience what's going on in the media,
Okay. Okay.
and then 3, you got to keep confusing Lucy and Jess.
That has been a real Dan of you.
I've been Danning it.
That was since Game 1. You also need to talk about stand-up comedians.
Got a lot of stand-up talk. All right.
Yeah.
Speaking of stand-up comedians, how funny was it last night seeing my man Joel Embiid seem like the lone player who was uncomfortable in this? Like, it just didn't seem as effective. I guess I should do it more positively, right? Because we did
As an American.
we did beat Canada. It was one of the best teams in the world, which they're nowhere near us because no one's as good as us. But it's a good opponent. I guess I'm having a hard time knowing how to feel about last night's game from Team USA because we did get a win. We started out, I think it was like down 10, which was
It
shocking
was not
to
a
me.
good first quarter.
So
Team USA could have used the speech that you started the show with.
So Pablo, what did you think about last night's basketball game?
I was, as we learned in game 1 of the show, I was incredibly hyped for Team USA. This is the most dreamlike of teams since '92, and I want to start with the good, which is that Steph Curry, this side of Victor Wembanyama probably, and a healthy Kevin Durant might be the best suited player for FIBA-style basketball.
I would like to say you Stugotz the shit out of that because you were at dinner with Don Van Natta last night. You didn't watch a second of hoops.
Why are you doing this?
Because
Stugotz would never have dinner with a journalist.
But he would get drunk.
You did that?
Dude, I was hurting today, man. My tolerance is
Don Van Natta cooked you?
65.
Hold on.
Trying to make it.
Try to make a 65-inch joke?
Yeah.
Okay.
You CPAP it last night or no?
Forgot to turn it on
Again?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
You didn't
Bad. I
pap it?
feel so. You got to use the water, like distilled water. All my members of CPAP Gang know you need to use distilled
Paps
water.
up!
Got to use distilled water in PAP Gang, and
I'm not into pap gaming. I don't think that they say paps up, but I just made it up. What does CPAP Gang say?
you got to use the distilled water, is what they say.
It has to be snappier than that.
And so I went to on my way into the hotel. Shout out to the Elser Hotel. I asked, do we have a bottle opener in the room? And they said yes. And I went into the fridge and got the very expensive bottle of bottled water. And I opened it and I poured it into the CPAP machine and I put it in there. And I forgot to turn it on and fell asleep because I was drinking with Don Van Natta.
Oh, I'm sorry. You guys saw me. I think the live programming was on me while you were talking.
I was just trying to tell Dominique we can't call them paps. That's already a thing. You guys could have asked the expert yesterday what that means, but you missed
Paparazzi.
Yeah, obviously.
Exactly, Billy.
That's a good call.
So
There's a lot of smearing that goes on back here. I'm noticing. There's so much stuff that it's hard to concentrate on what they're saying because I'm listening to what you're saying too.
Well done, David.
And I'm not sure that I can handle this.
Welcome to the shipping container. That's what we do.
I'm just going to stay
Show
very
within the
quiet
show.
and not look at Pablo.
You've gotten
of
so
schmearing.
good at this, man. You've gotten so good at it. You're coachable. I saw Sauce Gardner playing golf online. He tweeted out his golf swing. And one of the things that David has done this week that's really impressive that Sauce Gardner also could do is it's very hard for adult people to change. And Sauce was and physically, I think we all understand, especially anyone who's tried to play golf, you know what you're supposed to do, but telling your body to do it consistently. And through the course of this week, I've been coaching David up, and he just nailed that.
You've been taking notes.
And he just nailed that last because we had see, I was about to explain the joke. I'm getting worse. Anyway, congratulations, David. I'm so proud of you, man. Paps up.
Steph Curry and LeBron James played together for the first time.
And Kevin Durant, the best player on the team, did not play.
He did not play. I would not say he's the best player on the team.
On Team USA, he's the best, historically the best, so
there's a tradition.
Carmelo Anthony, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Carmelo to KD, this guy who is perfectly suited for the international game in terms of his ability to just create offense and shoot and take advantage of the ways that the rules are different. But Charlie Kravitz, resident basketball nerd, we got to see LeBron James be a little Draymond.
That was the most exciting part.
And that was intoxicating, as it were.
So that offense needs Stephen Curry to touch the ball. Real hot take there that Stephen Curry is going to be an elite international player. But seeing them get unstuck in the mud with the Curry-LeBron pick and roll was very exciting. Big decision, though, for your boy, Pablo, of what are they going to do with Davis and Embiid? Because Embiid was the...
I want to say this, Pablo. We've had a good time working together. You and I, our two-man game's been dope. But Charlie's my swan. Don't you lean on my nerds. That's my guy. When I need someone to tell me how to feel or think about basketball, I go to Charlie. You got Tony. Tony's your man. So next time you throw to the shipping container for some basketball analysis, you got to ask me for permission before you call on my snack.
Tony's a 76-incher.
Oh, big dog. Big dog, stand up.
Why do you think they call me in here, man? Make things happen.
When Kevin Garnett, Tony, I'm gonna use Tony. I'm gonna incorporate him into our offense.
Okay.
When Kevin Garnett says that LeBron James could play 10 more years in a Draymond role, do you buy that? Do you see that being hyperbole? Because the notion of LeBron, who is not trying to do everything, but has all of the skills, has the brain, has ostensibly the defensive capacity and the will to do it. I love that as an alternate future for LeBron James.
What's his nut punch game like?
It's a good question. I'm going to let Charlie answer that one. But to answer my man's question, Pablo, I think he can. Like, if he can not care about playing the offensive side of the ball and just setting screens, making the right pass, getting dirty on the defensive side, like, can LeBron play till he's 50?
He still got a chase down block the last night, and I would push back. Well, no, he can't play for 6. That's absurd.
No, let my man cook.
I would push back.
Brady played football until 45, and he could have probably played a couple more years.
Come on, Tony.
Yes.
Come on, Tony.
LeBron is built different, Dominique. You know that.
Come on, Tony. So Brady played for a while in part because the physical demand on that position and the way they protect that position is different. I don't know that LeBron can play. No, LeBron cannot play until he's 60.
I said 50.
I thought you said 60.
No, I said 50.
Till 50? Yeah, he can't play till he's 50 either.
Damn, I thought we had Dominique on that.
No. The point that I would have made if someone told me like LeBron could play the Draymond role, I would push back slightly because I think that LeBron, where you would see some slippage in LeBron's game has been on the defensive side of the ball, and I think Draymond's one of his best attributes, like next to his passing, is that he can play great defense. But I guess the argument is he has allowed his defense to slip because he's putting more effort in offensively. So if you think he still has the explosiveness to play, which that chase down block yesterday would suggest that he still does, then maybe he could extend his career.
I do think it's funny that all of the commentary so far here and elsewhere largely has been about like these guys as individuals as opposed to like, these Olympics. Because everybody assumes Team USA is still going to win. But Charlie Kravitz, who I'm not allowed to talk to anymore.
You can talk to him. I'm sorry.
I still cannot make eye contact with David Sampson, who is just it's very uncomfortable. Joel Embiid keeps on being dragged into this conversation, and I think that's a ridiculous headline to take away as the number one thing to talk about from this game.
Why?
Because Joel Embiid, as Juju Gotti pointed out in Game 3 for us, I believe, could not see, has various leg injuries, is trying to work his way into shape, and you're going to blame him for fouling out because in FIBA basketball, I want to make this clear. In FIBA basketball, how many fouls are there, Tony?
5.
Yes.
I like how you pump fake. I see you jab stepped him, Tony. Get him with a jab step.
You think you just go up and shoot?
Yeah, you gotta get open. Jab step.
Put the body into him. 5.
5. Got him.
And you can touch the ball off the rim, too.
Can't block that shot.
There it is. Nailed it. He knows the game, obviously. So I just think Joel Embiid is just an American. Joel Embiid is very American. He is made for the NBA, and he's adjusting to FIBA because that's how much of a great American Joel Embiid is.
No one questioned his patriotism. Just does he fit on his team? What happened? Why are you trying to
Does he fit with the Americans?
I think his style of play. Nice switcheroo, though. The only other thing from this USA basketball team that I think is incredibly interesting is that President Obama kind of went
You see
back.
what just happened?
Did
you just see what just happened?
That's why I paused, because there was some stuff happening away from the ball that I did not anticipate. I was trying to get to the President Obama dapping up.
And I'm trying to also create bonds, and I just got flipped off by David Sampson. All right, fine.
All right, so do we have that video of President Obama? You guys remember a while ago, Obama kind of went viral because he was dapping everybody up.
With Team USA.
Yeah, with Team USA, all the black players, and he's doing it again. Solid daps. These are aggressive daps. Yeah, what up, brother? Love you, all right? Trying to get like you. If I had
just
your
the
hand,
wind up on Steph.
I cut mine off.
And then LeBron, I feel like.
Yeah, these are presidential
the velocity
daps. And then we get down to the less melanated people. Handshake. See, I like that he gave Spo some shoulder. He was like, Spo, you don't get a complete dap.
As a great Filipino-American, I personally appreciate that.
You don't get a complete dap, but you've done enough for the community that I will give you a little chest to chest. And it seems as though maybe he has more respect for Steve Kerr than Spo.
He brings Steve Kerr in as well.
There's no left hand. There's no left hand on Spo. No left hand on Spo. This guy, you don't get no love. Oh, double hug for Kerr.
This is not coincidental. This is obviously quite real.
No,
DAP can be a stressful thing, Dominique, for those who are not sure what version they're going to get.
It's not anymore, though. That's the thing that I find amusing to this, or amusing for me when we see this, is I have an 11-year-old son, and he, goes to private school and has a number of little rich white friends. And they, DAP is a part of American culture now. All these little 10-year-old and 11-year-old white boys come up to me, and they're like, hello, Mr. Foxworth. And they go with the tilt. They go tilt up for the DAP. And, I'm fine
What
with
angle
it.
of the elbow are they approaching, just for the audio audience?
It's definitely 45 degree. It's a 90 degree.
Right
think
angle.
90 degree.
Good pump fake.
Yeah, you saw it? I appreciate it. I got him a little side, get him up in the air, and then hit him with that 45. Nope, 90. But I don't know that everyone knows the history of DAP. And I assume, Pablo, as a nerd, you probably know.
I know some.
You know that DAP stands for...
David, do you know the history of DAP?
I just know that it's always uncomfortable for me deciding who to hug, whether you go around both. Is it just one, you bring them in and then a wrap, or do you sometimes just do a fist? And I never thought of it from a melanin standpoint, the way you just described it. I think of it from a logistical standpoint. I think about it from man, woman, man, man.
Yeah.
So that is always in my head, and it's always awfully difficult to navigate.
Well, love is love, so don't worry about the man, woman, man, man thing. But the DAP stands for dignity and pride. And DAP was originally kind of created during the Vietnam War. It was between black GIs would use this as a way to let each other know that we had each other's back, because there was a history of the white higher-ups not protecting the black soldiers and putting them in tough situations, and even shooting them when they were in battle because they didn't respect them or like them. So the DAP was meant as a way to, whether it was an elaborate way to kind of silently express, we are on the same team, we're not going to let them do whatever they want to us. Dignity and pride is what DAP stands for. And so I just find it hilarious. I mean, it's cool that President Obama, the only black president that we ever had.
With that attitude.
Probably, yeah. You're talking about the whole country, not me.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only black president that we've ever had to express that to these representatives of the United States. And I also find it incredibly hilarious. I'm going to start saying dignity and pride to all the 11-year-old white boys that give me DAP. Just give them some DAP. All right, Connor, dignity and pride, brother.
Hunter.
Yeah, dignity and pride, Riley.
Cooper.
That's a good one.
Cooper flag. Looks pretty good.
Game
American
one.
flag.
A game one win for us, Cooper flag.
Oh, yeah. That was game one. I enjoyed Cooper flag conversation.
Can we get David back in here? I feel bad.
Why do you feel bad?
I'm a team player.
Yeah.
I'm whatever the higher ups want, this is what they get, and I couldn't be happier to be here with the container as they try to watch you guys try to sweep. Good luck to you.
Whoa, you know what? You don't say good luck to you.
I didn't like that sound of that good
Yeah.
luck. I was like almost a bad luck.
I also got to
in
be honest,
disguise.
you're not giving off very happy to be in this room.
You haven't
with
talked to us once.
Yeah.
Is there something demeaning
Kinda
about
seem a
being
little
back
sad.
here?
No, I'm trying to understand how I can do it, because you guys talk while they're talking, but
Yeah.
your microphones must be off because
Yeah,
I
they
don't
are.
hear it in my ear.
Yeah, they are. They are.
So how do?
That's true.
So I have not yet
Classic
figured out.
fourth starter.
No
questioning.
one taught me.
So during
Yeah.
the no one taught me either, David. You just gotta go.
You just
got to
talk. Yeah.
You went with the flow. Day one, you were just cutting it up.
Day one, we were still doing the show on Zoom, so that was a whole other
So that doesn't
Yeah.
count.
fiasco. But
even harder.
we're talking to each other, and we're trying to figure out like what we should say on the show, and at the same time, we're talking to them in their ears
Yeah.
to help them get to the next thing. So there's a lot of crosstalk going on, and you just gotta get in the lazy river stream.
And that
just
chair
flow
is
along.
tough too, because you have to be like kind of slanted over talking to everybody. So you almost have to play it at an angle. That's the important part.
Okay.
You're doing great.
There was another DAP that I'm not sure if you guys saw that involved Joe Biden at Waffle House.
Oh
last
my
week.
God! Thank
I'm
you for
concerned.
reminding me of
I'm
this.
concerned. See
No-
that? See that? You see what she just did there? Oh, did he get a squat?
So Jill walks into the Waffle House first, and a guy is filming Joe and executes an incredible multi-part.
So first of all, Joe Biden is obviously a veteran because the squat.
Oh
That's,
my God.
If you haven't seen somebody in a long time, I'm telling you.
3.
Now this is
4.
this may be
extended.
So you're only counting the 4 parts of the dap. The squat.
Starting with the squat is a great
The squat
insight
is
by
important because if this is only so what this communicates is I haven't seen you in a long time. I imagine that this may not be someone that Joe knows.
No, it's a total stranger.
But that is the only time you break out that. And I feel like maybe people don't understand it hearing it, but imagine in your mind, it also comes with a high-pitched voice where it's like, what's that? Oh, I see you, big dog. Oh, and then you rise into a clap, chest hug. It's outstanding, man. I see you, Joe.
If you have not seen this video, just remember what the debate against Donald Trump was like and imagine the opposite.
Though that description was just wrong. That squat, Dominique was way too forceful, and that was more of a tiny little squat.
Noted dap expert.
Whoa, he didn't give you that at.
David, when we're on this side, we need to just tell everyone on that side they're right.
Got it. Thank you. Duly noted.
Coaching.
No. Not right now. This is a new administration. We accept criticism. And if you notice,
every administration says that.
If you notice, Charlie has done nothing but undercut me since he got here, and I love him for it. Let's go to a break. I just remembered that when Joe did that squat, it reminded me of another white man who's very comfortable around black men doing a squat entrance, and it was Roy Williams. Remember when Roy Williams? Do we have that tape? Video team on point. How do you grab that already?
First off, on YouTube, the title of the video is "Funny College Basketball Coach Walking into Changing Room." To give you a sense of how this has gone beyond sports.
This obviously was posted by a British person.
Changing room. Into
changing
JCPenney or something.
Like it.
But this is
it's the
one
squat.
of the greatest coaches in the history of college basketball.
And it's not, so I guess
it starts with a squat.
I'm not completely accurate with it being like it's someone you haven't seen in a long time. That's how I'm familiar with it. But it's like an excited, like, it's a dap buildup.
Exactly. It's the prelude to an expression of comfort and familiarity.
Yeah.
And Joe Biden must have been the main recipient of all of the wind-ups that we saw Obama give, of course, all of the Team USA guys. And so when you see this, you're like, why can't the Democratic Party just air that video over and over again? Why are we introducing that video of Joe Biden being the most physically charismatic?
David, please come back. I do have a bit of...
I would like David to come back now.
Is
the
this
bit's
a
over,
formal
man.
invitation? Is
The
it
bit is
time?
over.
Well, then
It's not-
I have an idea.
Okay.
David comes back on the condition that he can enter the room and adequately dap both of you up.
Oh, I'll dap. Oh, I can dap.
Wow.
Dap it up,
You
brother.
have not seen me dap.
Oh, he is basically...
Do you know how to dab?
I'm a dapper burr.
Oh, he's the most dapper.
We're going.
We're calling
ready?
for the righty.
Oh, I
We're
can't
calling
wait
for the
for
righty.
this.
Dapper Dave. You know what Dapper Dan is? Nah, there's no chance any of you know who Dapper Dan is.
What is the reference?
It was a guy from Harlem who used to like make his own clothes, Dapper Dan, and it like became super popular. Oh,
Did you do the squat?
Oh, I see
Did
you,
you do the
Dave.
squat?
I see you, Dave.
No squat, just awkwardly walking.
All right.
Okay, you just jumped on Dominique.
That's not part of the dap.
I
I've
don't
been.
think that
Oh,
counts.
you have to get Pablo too. You missed Pablo.
That was
Did he just
interesting.
invent a new dap?
I don't know.
I've never seen the jump on dap. That
He
was
just
crazy.
koala'd you.
I think he smeared something on you.
I love that.
Happy to see you, Dominic.
We just added. We went from squat, clap, hug, koala.
Would be hilarious if you sent him back in here because of that.
I feel as
We
though
need that video team. If you can just get that for us whenever you could.
I feel as though David has endured so much this week that I can't punish him again. I can't punish him
Welcome
again.
back, David.
How are you guys?
It's been great. What's been going on?
I don't like that you were talking about the game that you didn't watch because that is too Stu.
It was a joke.
I'm not sure that's a
He
joke.
watched it this morning. We watched it
Oh,
together.
he watched it.
I was just making fun of him.
You watched the highlights.
Well, it was the extended highlight. You can get the condensed.
The condensed game?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Hold
question
on. I'm
our
sorry.
credibility.
We have breaking news in here.
What?
We just found Chris Cody's notepad from the sex therapist segment yesterday.
From game
Turns
3?
out-
From the 9th inning of game 3?
It wasn't a bit. He was actually taking notes.
He was
it
taking
appears.
notes.
Wait, hold it up so they can zoom in on it, please.
All right.
Did
Should I
he-
read this?
Did he?
Yes.
read it.
Wait. Get. Are there 5 things? We can do a top 5?
There are 5 things.
The top 5 things Chris Cody learned from listening to the sex therapist we had on at the end of yesterday's show.
I also have a top 5 of my observations.
Wow.
Do we want to
about
do
that.
these
Double
both now?
top
Yes.
Double top 5?
Absolutely.
Sounds like the rest of this segment is spoken for, baby. Let's do it.
Spoken like a true host. We're covered.
Yes.
All right. I'll do I'll do my top 5 first.
Okay.
And then we'll save the best for last and do Chris's top 5. So these are my observations.
Before you
listening
start,
yesterday.
excuse me, did you watch it happen as it was happening? Did you watch the entire segment? You have to give the background.
I
of
listened to it on my podcast.
the
app.
whole of it.
I
though.
didn't watch it. I saw the clip on social media.
That was an
Chris.
important clarification. Thank you,
notes.
sir.
Why is David just trying to make sure that we aren't lying about the stuff we've watched? I don't know.
That's actually a great question. He does do that frequently.
Oh man,
I worry.
The top 5 things Jess Matana has learned from listening to us interview a sex therapist yesterday are...
Number 5, Juju saying that this is a family show and people listen with their kids, and then the next segment after that being an interview with a sex therapist.
True.
It's a good observation.
Number
Happened.
4, David earnestly asking Pablo if he owns a CR.
yes.
No.
You guys don't have to bleep that.
The answer was no. I don't know if I ever said it aloud, but
You
it is
didn't,
no.
by the way.
Let's
It's
be
fine if you do.
Let's
I
be
mean,
It's
let's
fine
be
if you do.
clear.
It was just a very earnest,
Let's be clear
actual question
that
you wanted an answer
that
to.
be specific with Pablo, a very intelligent and normally grammatically correct person, said the answer was no.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Proceed.
true.
Yeah, it could be yes today.
It's been a
Because
lot
he
happened
learned
since
he
then.
learned new information. So the answer was no.
How many motors?
Don't ask. It's too personal.
I was told double was the correct. Okay, number 3, Chris Cody taking notes. Should be number 1, except there's 2 better than that.
Oh, gosh.
Number 2, funniest observation, Pablo asking for clarification about the grundle. Probably his best moment from the show this week.
She said it was regional.
I didn't
Like
know that.
geographically
I
regional.
did not know that. I learned that.
I found out so
yesterday.
much.
And then number 1, of course, David Sampson bravely admitting to the audience and the sex therapist and all of us that he cannot satisfy a woman.
He has a lot to do, right? He has stuff to watch.
It takes too long.
I like that instead of like just acknowledging which what all men understand is like sometimes your stamina's not right. David was like, no, this is intentional. I'm trying to be efficient, baby. It's not because I can't. It's
I
not
wanted
because
the
I can't
answer,
hold
and
out.
she gave it.
It's because I got to get on to the next thing because this isn't that important.
But I mean, it was brave.
No, it
Most
was.
people would have asked for their friend, but David just went right in there. Literally.
I don't see why I needed to ask for a friend.
Yeah.
Who am I kidding?
I don't care if my friends are getting the job done. I want to get the job done. I feel you.
Very brave.
The top 5 things Chris Cody wrote down on his notepad that we thought was just a bit are.
Number 5, 1990. Number 4, different devices.
Hold on.
Only at 4.
We can't. Hold on. We can't just be.
I don't know why 1990 is on.
Is it like?
Is that like the last time he did anything?
He would have
Would've
been
been
like 2.
how old is he? Yeah.
Weird.
That'd be really weird.
Even his parents.
I'm gonna
gosh.
text Chris.
Well, I think we
For
need
permission to do this?
No.
ask him what
Ask him what
1990 means.
That could have been from another segment, but there were
Why
5 things
did you
written down
write
on the piece of paper, and we
1990?
do a top 5. So I had to read that one.
You should take a picture and send it to him because he might need it. Use these.
True.
Yeah.
True. Number 3, CRs.
Yes.
Don't want to make more work for the video team bleeping
Yeah.
that one out on DraftKings. Number 2, I will not censor this one because this is just anatomy. Clit on the vulva. Chris Cody wrote that down.
We're gonna clip that one, please.
Nope.
No, we will not.
It's written down, yeah.
No. If Chris said it, we would clip it. We're not clipping it down.
Number 1, just vulva.
Why is there a
That
double
tracks.
vulva?
Clip that.
For each of the
That
cock
one,
rings.
Oh, you said CR. CR. Sorry, video team. We're very sorry.
Proud of you, Pablo, for not saying it during that segment.
Yeah, good job, Pablo.
You're welcome.
Has anyone heard from anyone about that segment outside of this room?
Anyone in what sense?
Anyone who may work at a level that is
Oh, coworkers of ours? Like,
Yes.
have any of us
Supervisors.
yes.
heard of it in a disciplinary capacity?
not necessarily disciplinary, more of a inquisitive capacity.
I like to use yesterday's segment as like a test subject to see how many people are actually listening.
It's a little
So far, we haven't heard back.
heat check moment.
I
Yeah.
tested it last night
Did
with
you?
certain people who were
Whoa.
higher up.
What did you?
Whoa.
What did you test?
Whoa.
Which
Yeah.
one?
I tested it, and the test did not pass. They
I
had not.
do not know why you had a sex therapist on the show.
No, I have not listened to the show. It was that.
Well, like, how did you? Because now we're in a snitching situation. What did you do? Like, how did you?
Why
ask this
is
question?
David always asking people if they watch stuff?
Because I don't know how you can get the show or do a show if you don't watch the show or if you don't watch what you're talking about. And one of the things that's talked about all the time on this show is that Stugotz and others, mostly Stugotz, will talk about things he has no idea about. And I think that we don't want to do that.
So how did you ask the question? You don't have to say who you asked, but what did you ask?
I asked very simply, did you see any segment that bothered you on today's show?
Oh,
Objection, leading the witness.
Leading question, yeah.
Sustained.
That's like, tell us what we should be in trouble for there.
I absolutely wanted to lead the witness because where I was going to get to
This
was
is
a
why
place.
you're not. This is why.
Can you finish your thought?
Well said.
These boys gonna fight, man.
I'm restraining myself.
And I think Pablo deserves a swift hook.
This week started with, I thought the two of you were going to fight, and somehow you flipped this.
David Sampson and I are, we see eye to eye. Well,
As long as I'm on a stool. Anyway, I thought that it was outstanding, and what gave me comfort in order to go and discuss this is when we went outside the door and we talked to the crew here, including there were women in the crew. How did you find that segment? And they all said it was fantastic. That was my only concern, is there was a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
Jessica, you weren't here. I wish you had been here because it would have been able to maybe feed off your energy like, oh, that was too much, or we're okay.
I was disappointed I missed it. It sounded like a lot of fun. And it does seem like the listener feedback was fantastic, which I think is most important, is where we're serving the audience.
I have been hardened by how much the audience has understood that we are here to have nothing else.
You've been what by the audience?
Heartened.
Oh, okay. I was about to say. Don't make me call Liz.
Naturally hardened.
I mean,
Why would you call Liz?
Without the help of a cock ring.
Okay.
Can you stop?
he
You're
can't though. Is the
making
thing.
Not with.
Not without a CR, you can't. You're making it harder for Billy, and I don't appreciate that.
More
because
difficult for Billy. Making it more difficult for Billy.
I have a new appreciation for Billy and for Chris and
You
for anyone in
spent
that show.
10 minutes in that room.
I can't believe the number of things
It is,
he's
you know,
doing.
it's true.
It's
That is-
unbelievable.
it's true. The shipping container, what they are doing that is unseen and unheard,
It's amazing.
is legitimately really hard.
Let's take a second.
No, and this is being totally
You
serious,
guys running
Billy.
for office? What's happening?
No, Billy, you were doing 5 different things and still listening to what they were saying and interjecting when appropriate. And I was awfully impressed. Yes, it was a 10-minute sample, but actually a 24-minute sample, but not an easy job.
Oh, a Dan thing. It's too much navel gazing, right? He likes to point out navel gazing. So let's stop navel gazing. What were you talking about before?
Well, you
this?
got to continue to navel gaze while saying that to
All right,
really
yeah.
Dan.
I will say that I was anticipating difficulties from listening to this show as much as I do. When I was coming down here, I was anticipating some difficulties. The video team's awesome. They were killing it. For me, in my experience. Shout out video team.
They
Are we
that,
doing awards already?
They got that.
Oh,
change-
yeah, it's too early for show awards. Too early for show awards.
They got us that changing room video really quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, too early for show.
Roy Williams.
We're like putting in the seniors right now before we've clinched.
Yeah, you're
the
right.
actual-
We are.
Yeah,
You
this
are. I'm
is-
sorry. I'm
I don't
sorry.
know
I'm
what
sorry.
we're
I'm
doing
sorry.
here.
I don't want to say that it's difficult to
Nice job.
be me, but I do want to say that there are certain instances when it is. And walking into this room just now was an instance where I was told to dib, and didn't know exactly what is
Nobody
it
told
called
you to
Let
dib.
him go. No, you got it.
Nobody told
Keep
you to
going.
dib.
Whatever it was called,
Yeah.
I was told to do it. Didn't know what it was. I asked on the way out, what do I just do it? So I didn't know what to do, and then it
dipped.
becomes a thing.
You
where
yabba dabba divot.
It's just something where you put me. I thought that we always want to put people in a position to succeed.
The thing is, David.
Asking me to come
No,
in here
David,
and
David.
dib,
Yeah, David.
whatever, dignity and pride. So it's dab,
Nice job.
dap.
There we go.
Sorry.
You got there. Got there. It was a long way.
That
But
was
the
a
thing
hell
is,
of a
David,
road.
the reason why at some point today we're going to have a whole David appreciation segment is there are very few people that I think cannot fail. And so I think you're right. There's certain people where we could put them in a position to fail. So like sometimes I could ask Pablo a question to analyze some football film maybe, and he would definitely fail.
He got torched
He
for
did.
that.
We'll
It
get to
was
that.
so
We got a few
great.
more minutes. We'll get to that in a second.
Torched.
But the thing about you, David, and why we're going to have a David appreciation segment later on is that was a no-lose situation. Because you come in here, execute a perfect dap. Awesome. You come in here and you do a spider monkey move onto my body. Excellent. There was no way for you to lose. There's
No
so many,
downside.
and that's the great thing about having you, and that's a great thing. We're gonna watch
Yes.
it. You come in, pop, there, woo!
So bad. don't ever want to see that.
Came in the room with the double Euro step too.
He did? Oh,
Wait,
can
play
we
that
see it
back.
again?
Re-rack that, please. Re-rack that
I
one
don't
more time,
think-
video team.
I don't think we need to re-rack.
We got to rack it. Let's see it. I want to see it again. Give it to me. Euro step. That step is not European. I don't know what it is.
Caucasian.
And then Dominique kind of carries him to the chair.
Like,
Damn, I'm strong.
Effortlessly.
I mean,
It seemed a lot longer in real time.
it did.
I think I blacked out at one point.
it's amazing how uncool
Pop.
I am.
Bop. Woo!
I just
Was David biting his lip during this?
Oh, here's my shoulder. That's what he's into.
It's actually not true. I've been asked whether I'd be into that, and I'm a no on that.
Oh, good to
I'm
know.
not a biter.
See, this is where I'm saying you, sir, there is no losing with you. There's no losing with you. And as much as people in the audience dislike you, they don't realize
He's a content machine.
they don't realize that they actually love you. It's the conversation I was having with Pablo. It's like
Yes,
when
I
I am listening to the sporting class, I'm like, I hate David Sampson. But whenever I see the sporting class pop up in my feed, I was like, I can't wait to watch this.
You hate listen to the sporting class?
No, I don't hate listening to the sporting class.
Well-
I listen to the sporting class anticipating that you're going to say something that makes me angry, and it's like
He ain't listens to you.
That
So-
sounds like that's
no.
weird.
It's slightly different because there's much of the sporting class that is interesting and informative and fun that I like. But I also know that, like in any good movie, there's going to be some moment in it where I'm going to either feel really sad or really angry because that makes it more rewarding. And I think that while many in the audience say things about you may or may not be true, I think that they don't understand that part of the reason why they enjoy the show is because you contribute the stuff that makes them feel. Because I don't know that I can make people feel as strongly as you can make them feel.
Any more gazing at your navel you want to do, or are you going to host?
I mean, it's surrounded by abdominal muscles. Why can't I take a look?
David, we missed you in here.
I have
Dominique's
a
trying
lot
to say.
that I'd like to cover today.
What do you want to talk about, David?
There's been huge business news that we can talk about with the NBA. Huge.
We also can talk about the malice in
That to me was the lead of nothing personal.
I got into my.
We've gone this long without talking about a fight in the stands.
So I
in
walked
America.
into the Elster Hotel last night after being with 3-time Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Don Van Natta.
I don't think that's a flex you think it is.
It's such a nerd flex.
also Pablo Torres, the fancy lad. All right.
Fucking swagger jacking.
Stop
Chris Whittingham.
swearing.
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you, David.
I walk into the elevator, and inside are two people wearing CONCACAF polos and media credentials. And I'm like, oh, right. This thing just happened.
And it's coming here.
Yes. So anyway, what I'm saying is we should probably talk about soccer.
Did you know what had happened when you saw them?
No.
So you just
I
assumed,
watched these extended highlights in the morning.
I'm very confused about what you just did. So
Yeah.
you told us for no reason that you had dinner with Don Van Natta, then gave him like his awards, and then told us you got in an elevator with people with polos of CONCACAF.
Yeah.
Just to say there was a soccer game yesterday.
we may lose game 4.
No. Do
we have time?
We started out early.
The point is they came from the game with the fight that we
The
wanted.
game was in Charlotte.
No.
Yeah.
Did you not hear me say the malice in
How
Charlotte?
would they have gotten here so
it was
fast?
that.
The next
so why
game-
were
Yeah.
they here?
The next,
Because
maybe
the
they're
next
the
game
next
is
game is
here.
here.
Oh, they were like the advanced team.
They
gotta-
could have been that.
That makes more sense.
I gotta admit,
I'm gonna leave.
you're tired. You're
the
tired
game
or
here
something.
Sunday. They've been in town because the game is.
We just
Hey,
have to
guys.
rest
This
him for
man,
a few minutes, and then
he
we can
misses
bring him
the-
back into the
Yeah, he
rotation.
needs a
This
line
CPAP.
tap. This CPAP is.
Can he take a CNAP?
He's got to start getting less baked so he remembers to put on the CPAP machine.
I gotta
this
say-
is honest feedback.
Yeah. Game 3, he tried to blow Game 3 for us too. There were many times,
did.
and David came in and saved him, and point shaving scandal happening. But anyway,
Can we give David a little credit too? Because all of him calling out what you watched and didn't watch that bared fruit in the moment right there.
it is. Of
Just
course.
turned out to be
Of
accurate.
course.
It's not that he didn't watch it; he actually didn't know where it was. and you've been saying Charlotte.
Yeah, because
But
you know
he-
why I was saying that?
Well, because the game was there.
No.
And
It
you
was.
knew he didn't know. That's good.
I kept thinking like, all right, he's gonna try to talk about this, and he's not gonna know what to say. So let me keep saying the malice in Charlotte, where they climbed into the stands in Charlotte to fight in Charlotte.
He's become Stugotz.
Did have the elevator story though.
I don't get the elevator
And the
story.
3 Pulitzers. So.
And they have blue seats there, so maybe that was why he was confused.
Oh, so he thought it was like Dolphins blue,
But it's clearly not.
Yeah,
but-
Dolphins ones are more teal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could understand how you could get confused. I know I can't.
This
So-
is a big deal. And I'm happy
yeah.
to be jocular about Pablo,
no.
but
Yeah.
this is a big. You don't fight. Athletes are told, no matter what is being told to you, no matter what they're saying, you don't go into the stands.
Yeah. The game, I watched the game. The game was awesome and weird.
Violence.
And so like you often get, and as I'm not a super soccer aficionado, but I watch enough soccer to know that the Copa and a lot of the South American teams are aggressive. Like by strategy, there's going to be a lot of fouls. The weird thing in this game was Colombia played a man down for about half the game with a 1-point lead because one of their players got pinched. He got pinched and then threw an elbow, which got him his second yellow, got thrown out. In a lot of these international tournaments, you don't get a chance to practice more sophisticated offensive sets, so you often get a clogged up style of play until someone scores a goal. So this game was so awesome to watch because not only did one team score a goal early in the game, they were also playing a man down. And it just felt like nonstop action and intensity for a tournament that obviously matters a lot. If you didn't know, you could tell by the way that Colombia was celebrating after, like they're celebrating like they won the whole tournament.
Our coach got fired for it, okay? So
That's true.
It must mean something.
Well, our coach got fired for
a lot of stuff.
body
So
of
much
work,
stuff.
This was the straw.
Yeah.
What struck me is that if that had happened not in Charlotte, but it had happened in Colombia or in Uruguay,
Yeah.
would we have had the same response? And my view is no. My view is that we've come to expect the possibility, even though you should never do it, that if there's going to be fights in the stands with players going into the stands, that's something outside of this country. So what struck me is that now it's come to us, and by the way, the final game is coming to Miami Sunday, and all I was picturing was Stephen Ross and Tom Garfinkel of the Dolphins hiring more game day security.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we did have the Malice in the Palace. It was rocking them fans. Sleepy time. Was that the most fun game in the Copa so far? I don't know. I really liked it. I think we should talk a little bit more about the Copa, and I guess in the most American way possible, talk about what happened to our manager as a result. Was this like an attempted news dump? Do people actually care?
Good question. Was this a news dump? Was this an attempt to bury this behind other events?
Is this something they wanted buried? Everybody was calling for him to get fired. Wouldn't this be
I think it was a celebration.
Yeah.
Until they name the next one and everyone's like, oh.
That'll be a news dump, probably, right? Like, oh, by the way.
No, they're going to have to try to celebrate it because there's now 700 days left till the World Cup. I think there were 701 when they let him go.
I don't know if somebody, I'm sorry to spring this on you guys in the shipping container or anyone else who's paying attention, but I find this interesting because we're headed into a World Cup that we're hosting with the golden generation that has yet to be as impressive as we expected. But I guess I was wondering if it's ever happened before or what the time period has been in the past between having a new coach hire headed into like a legitimate team that has some expectations headed into a World Cup, because that's the only argument for keeping him now that he's already out is like maybe we keep him because it's too late to change.
There was a massive revolt, obviously, when they brought him back, right? Greg Berhalter coming back was something that everybody that I read and talked to hated, in part because of this very concern of like, why are we wasting time with the guy that we don't believe is the answer when we have the most important, and not just the most important thing, David, but like the thing you pray for, a World Cup coming. And so just to explain, a World Cup being hosted by you is not just a sports opportunity, it is a business opportunity.
It's being hosted by more than just the U.S.,
North
and I
America.
think we should point that out, that there are 3 different hosts, Canada, U.S., and South America, Mexico. But I would say that this firing was a long time coming, and they were...
That's North.
Yeah. I think it's only hosted by North America.
It's all just North America?
Well, yeah.
I thought so, but I don't know.
I thought it was.
I meant more than one country.
You can also argue it's not something you pray for, it's something you pay for.
Yeah.
I think maybe one of the parallels too is last year after the Women's World Cup, they sacked their manager, and one of the concerns was bringing someone in right before another international tournament being the Olympics this year. But it's kind of like a sunk cost fallacy thing where if you already know that this isn't working and that he's not the right person, the more time you waste trying to make it work is actually just going to make the problem get bigger and bigger.
And so the reason they do it is they think that we all, from a media or fan standpoint, that we need a loss in order to make it okay to fire him. And so the U.S. gets eliminated from Copa, and then they sack him. I think they could have done even if they won the tournament. If you know that your manager or your coach is not your guy, why do we feel as operators we have to wait for a losing streak to do the firing? We all feel that way, and I don't know why.
You're the only person who's operated a team. I don't know. You'd ever felt that?
That's what I'm saying. We would wait. We're not going to fire him after.
But you don't know why you felt that way?
Oh, because we wanted it to be excused by the media and by fans. Like, oh, the U.S. lost in Copa, therefore it's okay to fire him. Where my view is the U.S. was totally fine with firing him, even if they won the whole tournament.
But do you think that this might be a bad example of this, but do you think that like organizations wait until a popular time to fire someone sometimes?
We try. It's hard to know what a
this
popular
is a pretty
time
popular
is.
time. Although it was also pretty popular like a year ago, depending on who you asked.
But if I'm saying if U.S. would play Sunday and won the entire Copa, does that mean that you can't fire Berhalter?
I think a lot of fans made up their minds way before this year started. So I guess it probably depends on what the consensus is. But it definitely reached like a critical mass within the last week of supporters outwardly saying that he couldn't continue.
Didn't that kind of happen with Nick Nurse? Like,
Go on.
they wanted to get rid of him, and then you win an NBA final, and you can't really, and then you extend him. Like, there's times that you want to get rid of people, and then they stumble into success, and then you're stuck with them.
Remember the time David Sampson, in one of the top 5 firings of his career, had to fire and then rehire Joe Girardi?
He had not won anything.
Oh, he won Coach of the Year.
I
It was very
hated him as a manager.
unpopular.
No. If you watched every day,
For the
I hated
team.
him.
I should say.
It was not a huge loss for this market. Just like Berhalter, I don't think that any any soccer fans in the U.S. are despondent that Berhalter is no longer the coach. And I don't think that they're solely focused and wholly focused on who the next coach will be. I think they're more concerned, where do we stand with 700 days to go? Can we actually win the World Cup?
So I know Greg Berhalter was, well, no, we can't. I don't think we ever thought we could. But I think Greg Berhalter, a lot of the opinion about him was about him being well-connected. And there was, like, I guess, belief that he was supported by the players. And that's why I know his brother was a part of the organization at some point and probably, I believe, left. But all that stuff ties into it. But the thing about this that I find interesting is it's an incredibly unique sports business situation because oftentimes, whether you'll admit it or not, I think you are taking the temperature of the fans. And in U.S. soccer, the fans are not, it's not a big fan base. It's not a popular thing to talk about on sports media until it's the time. And then everyone's locked in. So it's interesting to not have that pressure, because the noise can never get but so loud on USA Soccer because our shows are talking about football. You know, like our social media is talking about the NBA. And then the World Cup comes around and we all care. So I just find it interesting that it's one of the few sports, maybe the only sport I can think of, that goes from like close to the bottom of our sports media conversation to then dominating it. And we all learn all the players and care for a second. It's like
such an NFL point of view. It's unbelievable, actually.
Hold on. Does anybody disagree with that?
I think that's the nature of having like a tournament that only happens every 4 years. Because you could make the same argument about a lot of the sports in the Olympics. Like we really, really care about swimming for like 2 weeks just in like the mainstream sports media conversation. But in off-cycle years, it's not something that we're covering every day.
And Michael Phelps is just as famous as if he were swimming every week.
For sure.
And playing in the NFL. So I understand what you're saying, that we're only giving this attention because the World Cup's in 700 days and the Copa was now. But we're trying. Soccer is a bigger worldwide sport. You'd acknowledge that.
Right.
By far.
The contradiction also, though, is that soccer on a youth level is obviously one of the most popular, if not the most popular sport that Americans will have their kids play.
Way more than football.
And so the question then is, okay, here is this, and I think, the American Outlaws, all these fan groups, there is this question, and this is the eternal question, of like, how do we transfer all of this sort of grassroots populist interest that does not translate into sports media headlines or branding deals? And the theory was, well, you get a World Cup to be hosted in North America. And so the question then is, who is going to be the coach? I think that is obviously where Jurgen Klopp, as the guy that I feel like straw poll, that's the guy everybody wants.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how likely it is.
I think another question people are asking with the Copa on Sunday, how do I go? Great question. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Dan for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Game Time.
That's well done. I love the Game Time app, and don't you worry. Go to that game. There will be extra security.
That's in
guarantee you. No, that was right in Miami, Miami Gardens.
South Beach, some people say.
The game is not in South Beach.
It's so far from South Beach.
So
there are two things that I want to clarify.
Okay.
Men's soccer, I think, is specifically what we're referring to
Yes.
as like popular appeal, because I think like women's soccer is hugely popular and we're very good at it. So whenever we have this conversation about like why our team stinks and we don't like it, we should probably clarify that. But also I think anytime you have a tournament that is as internationally popular as the Men's World Cup, like no matter how popular soccer is, that will be when everyone is interested in it. Like it just is a humongous tournament. Even if you don't care about it, it just, the stakes are so high, everyone watches it, right? Like it's
the biggest thing in the world.
It's humongous.
Bigger than the Stanley Cup.
True.
Getting the World Cup trophy.
True.
That's the number one. I think if you asked athletes, I mean, this is anecdotal. I believe that athletes would say that winning the World Cup is bigger than the Super Bowl, the NBA championship, the Stanley Cup. All of them,
I don't
right?
think it's. Are we seriously wondering this?
I don't think anyone was wondering Stanley Cup.
I think we're
versus
pretty
World
clear
Cup.
Well,
on
people
for
call
sure.
the Stanley Cup is the greatest trophy in sports.
Just because it's
People
cool
just
looking.
call
I think
it
Yeah, they
that's-
just like hockey.
That's
And
here.
also the FIFA World Cup trophy is kind of like, it's a weird looking trophy.
You don't love it?
It's a little too small.
It's weird.
I love
You'd
it.
want it to be
Curvy.
bigger.
It's
I think,
petite.
Yeah.
You know what?
No.
We need to make this trophy bigger.
Yeah.
No.
The North American World Cup trophy should be enormous.
I'm with you. I feel like if America won it, like, you know how sometimes in wrestling, like someone wins and then they get a custom title? if the American men's team ever wins the World Cup, I feel like we're looking at a rebrand. Like maybe the globe turns into like a giant hamburger or something.
You should
like
Texify it.
Exactly right. We got to make it huge. Like we have to make it something like that looks almost like a fancy car ornament. You know?
Yep.
That'd be one hell of a fancy car.
Isn't a hamburger German?
What?
Don't worry
Hamburger?
No,
about
it's
that.
American, Jack.
I think it was invented in New Haven, Connecticut, on the
really?
campus of Yale.
Sure.
The other thing I wanted to say
Louis'
really quick about the security thing is that we didn't mention why this fight broke out, which was that the Uruguayan players were saying that they believed that their family members were being attacked in the stands by Colombian fans. So that's why they were complaining about the lack of security for the people that were supporting them and their family members, and that's why I assume the Dolphins Hard Rock people are going to try to hire more.
I called out David Tepper and the entire group there because you know where family section is. Always. You get a list. And the operations people knew, if it's true, I don't know that family was there, but that's certainly the report. But it's not a secret where the opposing team or where the home team family is.
I love this. This is a great spin. Blame David Tepper. The guy can't get anything right.
David
It's an easy
Tepper
person
can't
to
be
blame.
happy. He just can't be happy.
Doesn't he have bronze testicles on his desk?
Yes, I remember that story. Apparently he has bronze testicles on his desk.
Braun as
Like
in
truck
LeBron?
nuts?
Bronze.
No.
Oh,
What?
bronze.
Not
I don't
like,
like truck nuts, honestly.
le testicles.
With CRs. So
Well, I'm looking this up just to get the.
my concern would only be about going to Miami Gardens.
Yeah.
On Game Time app, you will get great prices. Just know that you're going to be safe. There will not be fights in the stands.
Can I quote New York Magazine, speaking of trophies, speaking of David Tepper, quote, Tepper has a pair of brass testicles, cartoonishly huge and grotesquely veiny. They are affixed to a plaque inscribed with the words, in all caps, the most valuable set of all time. So.
That was a joke you were supposed to say out loud, David.
Oh.
Come on, Dave, catch up.
It's okay.
So are they like truck
Dang
nuts
it.
or no?
Sounds truck nut adjacent.
Didn't he have
Is it Brandon Bass's testicles?
what?
Jesus Christ.
Never mind.
She gave me a layup. I wanted so badly because there's been a moment here. We've had like a
Help
this.
her help you, David.
I want so badly to be the beneficiary of her help, and I didn't know who she was
You
talking
did the
to.
Greg Cody. Yeah. You just laughed to the joke in your ear and kept moving along.
At least you didn't reply. Greg replies.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, that's
One
right.
step better
We
than
are,
Greg
you know
Cody.
what? We all
I
here
have to be
on this
better than
side of the
Greg Cody.
glass, we are inhabiting the person whose chair we're sitting in. It is kind of remarkable. Dominique can't stop talking about ourselves.
And I mess up Jess and Lucy.
I can't distinguish basic facts and got drunk. And David thinks that producers in his ear are actually just saying things aloud on the show.
And Pablo's lying.
Also that.
So we are Dan, Stu,
we
and
got a
Cody.
picture.
I have a theory that
Those are
whoever's
not.
chair you sit in.
Those are
That's not real.
Oh,
I
okay.
do not
I
want to
didn't know
put
where
that
it
on
came
our
from.
show.
All right, get it out.
I feel like
Get it
that.
out.
Didn't
Get it
Drake
out.
have a chain like
Are we
that?
sure that's not that?
Oh yeah, he did have
Like an
a chain.
artistic rendering of what David Tepper's testicles might look like on his desk.
Yeah, not his. Yeah.
The desk ones.
Yeah, the desk ones.
Desk nuts.
I mean, do we think there's some other guy's testicles?
Why would he have his own testicles on his desk?
Why would he have someone else's?
Which one's weird? I don't know. I think it's weird in general that a man at a corporate office would
Yeah.
have testicles on
Wait,
their
so
desk.
hold on. Are we like under the impression that he did one of those things where you like, I guess, like make
Like
a
a mouth
cast of it and then like made a replica and then like supersize them? Okay, take
that's
that off the
that's the
screen.
Drake one. That's the
That's
Drake
the
one.
Drake
chain.
It's a heart, by the way. Not
It's
a,
a heart. It's the Drake chain.
Yeah, that heart's upside down.
Get it out of here. I ain't look at that anymore.
The veins were unnecessary.
I don't know. I
We're
don't know.
finished, guys.
I don't know.
We have to go to a game 5.
John's not listening.
I'm not going to game 5. You can go to game 5.
I will play in a game 5 if necessary.
it's going to be necessary.
I
Thank you to the
believe
video
we're
team
winning.
for flipping the Drake.
See,
chain.
you know,
It looks like a heart now.
That's a heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in a shadow in the back too.
But why isn't there a circular clip from which it can hang from for a chain?
It was.
Yeah, just gotta spin
was.
it around.
You just cut it off. So Hard Knocks has been fun, hasn't it? Has anybody been watching Hard Knocks?
I've been watching it, and I saw that there was some controversy yesterday regarding the breakout clip of episode 2, which was Drake May at the scouting combine. But I have been watching. I have a lot of thoughts, a lot of takeaways. But the biggest one is that I thought that an off-season Hard Knocks about the Giants was like, why would I watch this? But I've been really enjoying it, and I don't think it's just because it's July.
But did you see Pablo? I hope your takeaway is that his level of nerdy was exposed in a way that he tries to hide more than he'll admit.
It was a difficult day for Pablo on the internet yesterday. A lot of the NFL and football analysts that I really like were not
feel
happy with
bad.
him.
I feel bad about what I did.
Do you? Oh, so you want to apologize?
Well, he did. He sent out a tweet.
I didn't say that I wanted to apologize. I just
on.
feel bad that people that follow me on
You
various
tweeted?
social media platforms, I got aggregated by awful announcing.
Hold on. Can we workshop a Notes app apology from you, Pablo?
Ooh,
I like
let's
this.
do that. I like it.
I'm intrigued.
Which was the one that got you? Because, like, I don't assume that one person.
It was being aggregated.
I know, but I mean,
So this is
he
what
had to read.
what
you had
awful
to read.
announcing.
Okay, go ahead, Pablo.
The poll quote that they got was, and they used a description that I do not co-sign, but it began, Pablo Torre is sick of NFL film analysis content, : And already I'm like, it wasn't about all film analysis.
Well done, awful.
They made me into
He was
goddamn
so despondent.
Mad Dog
He was
Russo.
upset.
Just like, why am
Watch
I?
out, by the way.
You
Watch
say that
out
like
with
it's an insult.
Yeah, what are you trying to say by that?
Man's a legend.
Don't disrespect.
Doggy.
And the quote was, we fetishize jargon, which I stand behind. I'm not apologizing for that. The entire point of what I was trying to say in this chair was that I like it when complicated things are explained to me, a person who has none of the depth of not what. Why are you calling for a timeout?
Because we
That's
had
a
to
30, by the way. Quick 30.
Yeah, it's
20.
Yeah, it's a 20. We had to quickly
FIBA
acknowledge
rules.
that you pulled a Stugotz, and you said, "I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize." All right, time in.
Thank you, Dan. I like it when complicated things are explained to me, as someone who does not have the depth of knowledge, in a way that anyone can understand. Again, my entire show is about, here's a complex thing, I'm going to explain it to you so that you care about it and that you can even talk about it to other people. And I just feel like so much of NFL film analysis content at its worst is just peacocking the theater of authority, as if I want to listen to a lot of doctors only refer to body parts using the Latin names.
But why did you decide that you needed to respond? This is what interests me far more than you saying the same thing you said
Because
yesterday.
all of these people that I do respect thought that I was subtweeting them. And I felt bad that it came across that way.
To be clear, you're kind of consistent because yesterday when our sex expert brought up the perineum, you were like, Grundle! I don't want these fancy science words. I want to get into tank.
I'm here to clarify and find out.
Is it possible that this content isn't for you? That you are taking it as someone like being authoritative over you, whereas maybe you just got into the wrong corner of the internet.
And that's totally fair, but I think that's actually happening to me, which is to say, I am saying, I don't dig this. I think this is intentionally exclusionary. And people are saying, why don't you want me to have a job? And I'm like, that's not what I'm saying.
That guy misspelled
Do you
nuance.
think that nuance is what's meant in that by chance?
I think Pablo, you're handling this all wrong. Like, own the take, own the backlash. You're doing the job the right way. This is what we are supposed to do. This is you'll get an A+ next week when Dan's back.
But
This
I feel
is
bad.
the problem,
I feel
though.
bad. Brett Coleman is tweeting a GIF of Spider-Man from Endgame disappearing into the wind, like I betrayed him or something.
Pablo?
I'm like, I think he's good.
You got to stop being a star fucker and not care what they think, because you wouldn't care if it was anyone but these blue check marks tweeting at you.
Wow,
I
that
just-
is
I-
quite a statement. You're just going to
I
let
have
that go.
I have a fork in a road here, right? I can either
careful.
one of two things. I can dispute Charlie's characterization of these people as stars, or I can consent to their importance to me.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Which way are you going to go?
It's funny. I thought you were going to say dispute his characterization of you, but we would never
Oh,
dispute
no,
that. Yeah,
that's-
you love it.
that's real
That's
hard
your
to
type.
Stop the lane.
that
Which
part.
way you going? It's a fork. And the reason I'm asking is it tracks for you to go one way, not the other.
Brett Coleman, Theo Ash, Quincy Avery, Nate Tice.
Oh,
All of these guys.
that's a gang of them. Did Orlovsky come out, or he just let
He
the
was
other
so
ones
happy
do
he
it?
got the mention on the show that he wasn't.
I
gonna
did
say
name
anything.
check. I'm sorry
Yes,
for
I know.
prioritizing Dan Orlovsky over
Did he-
all of your work.
Did he come for your neck too, or he just sat in the back and watched all the other goons get you?
I think he's just eating like an unseasoned chicken breast somewhere. I don't know what he's doing.
Ooh, that's gonna get aggregated.
Can't wait.
Own it, Pablo. If that's your take, stick to it. All right? You're sitting in the.
It is
Stugotz
annoying.
chair.
It is annoying when people are saying things without explaining them, as if we're supposed to catch up and no one teaches it. That's my thing, Dominique.
So like,
I think the thing, though, that I found interesting going back to the Giants Hard Knocks, though, was like this all started from the Drake May clip of him being quizzed by the Giants front office about his knowledge of football jargon, essentially. So it's just a weird
Ben
place.
Solak.
Fair.
Sorry.
I will say Nate Tice very passive aggressively. I don't want to put that on him, but he very passive aggressively just tweeted out what each of the words meant in the call. He was like,
I had to text
Linda
Nate.
means left.
I had to text Nate.
What did you text him?
That I wasn't subtweeting him. And he said, not to betray a private conversation.
Now
but
you
But
should
please.
have to sit
Yeah,
in
you gotta-
Dominique's
you gotta-
chair if you're
away.
gonna do that.
you gotta
Yeah.
come over here.
What we do.
Nate and I are on the same page, I think.
Nah, don't try to drag Nate down with you.
Look, I want all of these film nerds to have all of the audience that wants exactly that. And I, in fact, follow them because I want to learn. I just feel like across the board, there's just a performance of authority through complexity that has been something that I've just wanted to call out for a long time.
But you know, people think you do that too.
You do the same
That's
thing.
the-
You
that's the-
understand
so
that,
that-
right?
Did you listen to what you just said?
It's funny because I have
Complexity of authority.
I have a one of the things that I've appreciated most about having children is watching them do the things that my wife does and her get pissed off at it. Like the things that
That's
she
just
does
starting.
are annoying to me, but I just like, all right, whatever. And then she sees them happen to her. I get a hell of a cackle, and watching Pablo be mad at other people be pretentious because you're not used to being on this side. Let's get to the bottom of this. You're not used to being on the side that's being talked down to.
the words are too big.
You're not used to feeling dumb.
But also, I do sincerely want to make very clear that I want to communicate to people who don't understand what the words mean. And I think that a lot of the time, with this Hard Knocks clip in particular, to get back to what Jess was enjoying from the show, my thing was, why is this viral in a way that suggests that people beyond the ball knowers are celebrating it? And I'm like, I think it's because people think this is what it means to be a sports fan now, to co-sign something without understanding. And that to me is kind of annoying.
I think that some people can appreciate it even if they don't understand it. Does that make sense?
But I don't.
Like it can be
but-
fun.
so I want to just extend that metaphor to other things, right?
I
so,
think it happens all the time.
and
Like,
I think
you
it's a
go
part
to
of the internet that is mystifying to me.
You go to see an illusionist or a mentalist. You understand, you of all people, who's very impressed by
An episode about magicians.
mentalists and illusionists and magicians. Like, we don't get it, but we know something that just happened was really cool and impressive. I think it's fine for people to recognize that we're watching a game that we've boiled down to, in the words of Dan, real estate acquisition, but understand that it's a lot more complicated, and I think that's also part of it. Is it looks like a brutal, nasty, dangerous, violent game, but in actuality, it also is a very strategic and intellectual game.
I kind of think Pablo's right.
Careful.
Which part?
Yeah,
That's
buddy.
what you're.
Yeah, buddy.
I mean, there's a difference between
He's
explaining
your
what's
guy.
going on and just trying to use the jargon to say that you know it. I kind of think Pablo's right.
So you don't think Pablo's right?
Aggregate that awful analogy.
He explained everything.
You don't think Pablo's right
Why not? Why can't
Well,
you think that I'm right about this?
because you're saying something different.
No,
I
no,
think
I'm
with
saying
Pablo-
exactly that.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
Now you are.
Guys, this side That side's right.
Can we workshop what I should post on a notes app?
All right, at some point, I want to get to Jaylen Brown and his issues with USA Basketball and his issues with Nike. But before that, I want to continue on this football conversation because there was a Joe Burrow tweet yesterday that I talked about a lot on my show, and Pablo was a guest on my show, and we spent a lot of time on it. It was right. Oh, Charlie, are you going to make fun of me? What's
Dominique Foxworth show coming out Friday. Watch it on ESPN2 at 2 p.m. or get it wherever you get your podcasts.
I hate shilling. It just
Pablo Torre finds out.
No.
Available wherever you get your podcast.
David Sampson, nothing person. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway.
I'm never asked to be a guest on your show.
I would love to have you as a guest on the show. It would be awesome, especially when we have topics like this. And this might be a preview of one of the times when you're going to be on my show, because I think this is an interesting conversation because it leads us right into CBA negotiations conversation. The NFL is going after 18-game schedule at some point. When I was a union leader for football, they presented 18 games to us. We said it was a non-starter. Eventually, it got taken off the table. And then in the last CBA negotiations, they popped up to 17 games with intention of going to 18 games soon. And so as the NFL is like any other business, they're always looking to increase revenue and grow. You can't go backwards. The easiest way to increase revenue is to add another game. Like, you can grow globally, you can try to get more American fans, you can raise your prices, but the easiest thing to do is sell another property. And they are attempting to do that to make more money. So Joe Burrow sent out a tweet essentially saying, 18-game schedule, we better get a second bye week. I don't remember the exact words of the tweet, but correct me if I
Well, I think he also said
it.
some stuff on video, which we could watch.
How many games are we playing?
You tell me.
18.
18. Gotta have 2 bye weeks.
I like
And I
that.
think it'd be cool to do a normal bye week schedule that it is now. Like, have it spread out. But then, like, week 13, do, like, the Pro Bowl break, where you're doing, like, the 7-on-7 and all the skills challenges like the NBA does, because I think that would get more ratings for the Pro Bowl.
Yes.
And then it would also give everybody that bye week going into, like, the last 6 games.
The interesting thing about that is one of the challenges when I was a union leader in both football and basketball, and probably even more pronounced in basketball, is there is a delineation in the ownership ranks, and there's one in the players' ranks too. And that delineation in basketball is like, all right, there are some obvious superstar players, and their interests sometimes align more with management than they do with the rank and file players, which creates some challenges in negotiation. And in football, it's kind of like there are quarterbacks, and the quarterbacks view themselves as a little different than the rest of the players. And when I went to basketball, I was like, all right, there's a whole lot of quarterbacks in this league. So having Joe Burrow say something like that sounds like the league talking.
You got to lock that up for the union.
Exactly.
You cannot have that happen, because what management does is they look at that and they say, fantastic. We're not given anything in a trade. They already know they're going to 18. We're going to give them the second bye week.
They're planning what they will want when we give this new ruling to them.
The game, an entire new game, is an enormous bargaining chip. And the reason why this is a little problematic, and there's plenty of time before they get to CBA negotiations, so the dynamics can change. But I'll let you behind the curtain a little bit in our negotiations. Is one of the tools that you use, and the league used against us, and we tried to use against them, is to talk about how impossible it's going to be to sell this deal to your membership. And so Roger Goodell would come into our CBA negotiations, and then when he'd leave, he would suggest to us, like, I'll try to get them to buy this, but it's going to be so hard. And then when he inevitably came back and conceded in some way, it would make us feel like we really got something. And we would do the same thing. It's like, look, Roger, I get it. I understand what you're looking for. But can you imagine me in a room full of players trying to get them to buy onto this?
I think the other thing with this too is that the way this is all being said is that he's like Joe Burrow's putting himself as like on the side of the fans, so that when the players inevitably try to fight adding another game, it's going to be really easy for the owners to be like, look at these big bad NFL players. How awesome would it be to have this midseason Pro Bowl and 2 bye weeks and all these things that all the fans want? Like, they're just being stubborn and they're in the way.
I think both sides already know the deal's cut. And the CBA is going to get opened before it expires. There'll be 18 games well before the new CBA.
So 2030.
I think this happens before 2030. We're only in 24 right now.
Well, I can tell you that both sides don't believe the deal is already cut. I think the negotiations have not happened, and that's the reason why this is problematic, is because this changes the negotiation dynamics.
But the trial balloons have been sent. Which
yeah.
Which
I do think that
let's have the Super Bowl during President's Weekend.
I think you're right in that 18 games, it feels very likely right now. But getting to that 18 games, the price feels like it's going down. What it's going to cost the league feels like it's getting cheaper and cheaper, because the point that I was making before is it does not seem like as much of a big deal. And the reason why Joe Burrow being a quarterback matters is the challenging thing about this is the price for the extra week is going to be paid disproportionately by players who will not benefit nearly as well from the increased revenue as somebody like Joe Burrow. Like, when the CBA goes up, when the salary cap goes up, the quarterbacks every year, like clockwork, get a bigger percentage of the CBA or a bigger percentage of the salary cap, which is a really tough place, because I think Joe Burrow feels, honestly, as someone who's been injured a lot, so it's funny to hear him say that, feels honestly like those increases are worth extra bye week. Whereas I, as a player, would be like, oh, no, a whole nother football game? That's going to cost you guys 2, 3, 4% off of the revenue. And Joe is presenting like, oh, it's going to cost us an extra bye week.
Well, I would just like you to do the math. That's all we ever wanted the players to do, was to figure out, okay, we're going to do a game. We're going to take away a preseason game,
right?
Which means that owners will get X more in season ticket revenue. Then we're going to sell the extra week to the broadcasters. And so players, you get 50% of the revenue, maybe 51, 52, whatever the percentage is. So in the bargaining table, I think that if you were presented with a spreadsheet, on a spreadsheet, here's what we get by doing an 18th game, and here's what you get.
Right.
You're getting half. If that's shown to you, it will accrue to the benefit of all members of the union.
It doesn't accrue to the benefit of the players proportionally, is one point.
But nothing ever does. Nothing ever.
Right.
No game you ever make ever does.
I understand that. But I'm saying that's what makes it more difficult to sell, because the players know that. And I would also point out to you that why that's hard is having never played football. I think it's really difficult, particularly given the CTE information that we gain year after year. That money does not seem nearly as valuable to us as it does to you. And then when having that conversation, like, all right, we're going to play an extra game, so we get half of that, you get half of that. You aren't playing an extra game. Like, that's what makes these negotiations difficult, because it's like, you deserve half for what? Because you hit a switch?
How does the PA do damage control from something like this?
Yeah, so it's not really damage control as much as it's, because once it's done, it's done. I think the way that you do damage control is like stick to whatever your plan is for preparing for negotiations. And I think the way that you prepare for negotiations is, I think oftentimes people believe negotiations are like what you imagine happens in TV, where it's like, if you can bluff in the room. Like, negotiations don't take place in the room. Negotiations take place years before you get in the room. You're able to negotiate whatever you want based on the leverage that you create in the years leading up to the negotiations, which is why maintaining a posture that adding another football game is absurdly dangerous and risky and something we would never consider is negotiations. So there's no damage control now. All you can try to do is make sure that people know, and it's possible that this could be a benefit, because this is an opportunity to have a conversation with the rest of the players. And maybe the players will be appalled, because I would be appalled if I was a player and I heard a quarterback say, oh yeah, another game, just gives us an extra bye week. And I thought about what this actually meant for his pockets and not mine, and his head injuries and not mine. I would be like, what? And that could galvanize a group. So I think that the way you do damage control is this now gives you a talking point. When you go visit all the teams, you're like, look, this was said, but we need to be clear that this is hurting us getting forward. Anything that is said going forward about this is about how it's not something that we would want to consider, and we need to do research about how this is going to impact us and what we can get back.
So what's funny to me, beyond the fact that you and David have been negotiating the CBA in front of everybody, is that we are also hearing, Dominique, you say that part of how you organize a disparate bunch of players with different incentives is to acknowledge that there is a subset inside of that group that has the most different incentives. That quarterbacks actually should not be considered rank and file. You need to see them as a different category.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that they see themselves as a different category, and inevitably they all learn that they're not any different than us. So like it happened with Drew Brees. He was heavily involved in the union in part because he learned after he got an injury that they don't care about you. And at some point, all the quarterbacks learn at some point they don't care about you. So understanding that you are part of us, and we don't necessarily talk about the divisions as much as we find a common enemy. Like, that's what it is. It's like, all right, I know your life is different. I know your life is different. But you know who's standing in the way of making your life better? That guy.
Why
so
are you
let's not
pointing at
worry about
David?
this.
Just pointing directly at David.
Even outside of the NFL, when we were unionizing at previous jobs that I've had, there are employees that make exorbitant salaries that are not even just like close to management, like literally friends with management.
Yeah.
And you're trying to get them to be on the same page as people that really do need a salary increase or some sort of like job protection. And it's more difficult to convince those people sometimes that they're actually more like the person making $50,000 a year than their boss, because they feel like everything's going pretty well for me. I don't really need any of this stuff, until management tries to then impose something on them because there is a difference, and they realize like, oh, this is actually affecting me
That's
now.
how the
actually
quarterbacks
what do
are.
I do?
That's
Oh,
how the
no.
quarterbacks
They're
are.
making more than their boss. It's in your instance.
talking about
Who do you
GMs?
consider the
Those companies.
boss?
Yeah, I'm talking owners is the
they're-
boss.
So in your example, I assumed you were not talking about boss. You were owner. You were talking about management, C-suite level management.
C-suite,
No,
yeah,
right.
executive level.
So there are often employees who make more money, like players. Players make more money than the team presidents.
Honestly, that could be true for a few people, but we were never able to see what management made. We were only able to see what the non-management employees made. So I don't know that to be true, but in a lot of cases, it would be an outlier for a writer to get paid more than the head of the company.
It's not uncommon in sports for the players to make more than just about every single employee.
No,
I
David.
promise you that is the case.
I understand what you're saying, but those employees don't matter. We don't negotiate against them. The people that we're negotiating against own billion-dollar companies that go up by hundreds of millions of dollars in value every decade. So, like, those are not the people we're negotiating with. Like, it's the, yeah.
It doesn't cost the coach money for the players to have better benefits. Like,
Right.
and also, could they not just
It
start
does
their
actually.
own union?
It does actually, because dollars are fungible, and so when they look at a CBA, they look at who's getting the allocation of money,
Right.
and that's why then there are decreases in certain positions.
Yes, dollars are fungible, but there is enough money that the funge of the dollars doesn't have to come from the coaches. It can come from somewhere else. It can come from the ownership's pocket.
It never does.
I understand that.
But it could.
It could if you have leverage to create it. That's
Every
the thing.
single company you do business with, Apple could lower the price of its MacBook Pro and iPhone. There's no doubt. And if anybody would take a pay cut, anybody in the C-suite level would take a pay cut, they can lower the unit price. They're not going to do it.
This is the exact reason why we have unions, because there are certain groups in society that control things and have more power and leverage. And the only way that you can extract any value, the only reason why players are getting paid the way they get paid now is because they unionize. And in any other industry,
because you have a skill that customers will pay to watch.
No, that is not why they get paid. You just made the point, David.
That is why you get
Okay,
paid.
so
Because
hold on.
broadcasters will pay because people will watch
David,
the
I
games. They
understand.
want to see you play,
I
not
understand
Pablo.
that. I understand that, David.
the hell?
Sorry, man. No
Listen,
one wants
David,
to see
David,
you.
David. That's why the NFL makes billions of dollars. The reason why the players get paid a lot of money is because they told the NFL, we will not play if you do not pay us the right amount of money. It's not because we're super valuable. It's because we were strong enough at certain points to win in court, and the same thing with other sports, to challenge them and tell them that you won't have this special, valuable thing if you don't fairly compensate it.
The court, at least in baseball, is much more about free agency and about movement and about having choice. Where in theory, outside of sports. But Dominic, I understand you're getting frustrated.
No, I mean,
and I don't want you to. But the union, you would get paid the same. You were the one who talked about decertified and disbanding the union as a possible strategy to deal with what exists in football right now. And I'm telling you that if you decertify, disbanded, whatever you do, your percentage of revenue that players get isn't going to change.
Okay, so David, my point is, you said it was about the court cases and
you said court
strikes.
Cases.
No, I agree. Court cases worked in our sports and strikes worked in other sports. But those were in order to get free agency, and you said to get choice. That's right. It was prior to that, we did not have choice. And so if you do not have choice and a monopsony exists, which means that there is one buyer in the market, then you have nowhere else to take your services, then you will not
Dominic,
get paid.
Hold on,
majority
I
of
gotta
your
take
players
my
have no
drink.
choice.
As per the Dominic Foxworth drinking game, you said monopsony.
I love that word.
You do. The majority of the people in your union do not have choice.
Okay, this is
Because
Guys, do you
they
remember how
never
we
make
lost
it to
game
free
two?
agency.
Do you remember how we lost game
This
two?
is semantic. This is a semantic argument
Wait, we
that
need
doesn't
to
matter.
get to the part where
The
Dominique
point-
wins the argument before we cut it off.
I mean,
he kind of already has.
yeah. I mean,
He did.
the point is,
David learned so much.
I mean,
Gladiator game.
You guys are
Combat
right.
sport, not a contact sport.
way to go,
Graffitiing
Dan.
the
Way to
church of
Dan.
football.
Antiseptic cathedral of football.
I'm not excited for Gladiator 2, and to the point where I won't watch the trailer.
Oh,
Oh, you missed out.
Did everyone else
Boycotts
watch it?
work. We'll see if they cancel the movie.
There's a rhino in it.
I feel
A
like
guy rides a rhinoceros into the Coliseum.
How are you not excited for it? Did you like
'cause I
Gladiator 1?
loved.
So why would you not
Because
be excited?
I've-
about-
Ryan Sandberg's in it.
Right. That's,
We got the trailer
baseball
going right
show.
now.
Good one. It's a good one.
Wait. Yeah, that's the guy from After Sun.
No, David, look away. We're showing the trailer. You said you will watch it.
Paul Mezcal.
You scab.
He won't watch it with sound.
Oh, Denzel's in it?
More of a Paul Tequila guy.
I'm in. Denzel's in it. I'm in.
With the Caesar fade, I'm in.
Do you not worry
Caesar
always
right next to Caesar?
when you say The Godfather 2, people would argue is better than Godfather 1.
Incredible.
But how many sequels would you say are better than the original?
Shook ones too.
He's right about that.
Shout out 13%.
There are some latter Spider-Men that I enjoyed more than the earlier Spider-Men.
Madam Web, for example.
That was so bad.
It was terrible.
Bad. And I didn't stop watching because of my idiot theory that once I start a movie, I won't stop. If that was a candidate.
She was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died, Jess.
Which wasn't even in the movie. The kindest thing I can say, it was under 2 hours, so it ended up not being that big of a waste of my time.
The Carter 2. Another sequel better than the original.
Carter 3, even better.
Carter 4.
They get better and better, boy.
I kind of think Carter 2
I
is
liked
the best
Rocky
one.
2 better than Rocky.
Carter 3 is the best one for sure.
I gotta
Easily.
stick with the snack on this one.
I don't like
too.
Taz.
What's
Could be
the
wrong.
What's the top mixtape? I'll give you a minute. I don't want to drop it on
Drought
you right
3.
now. Drought 3. Okay.
Drought 3 double disc deluxe.
I hate that I had to give up on that argument with Dominique so quickly.
We can go back to it, man. Like,
I think it was a good conversation.
I just felt like it
Overall?
was.
Glad
but
we're having it.
Dominique. The thing is that
Exactly.
Dominique
is right.
from the first. That's Dominique.
Why do you have a rhino and not have it gore someone? Like,
I'm
why
hoping-
are
I'm
you
hoping-
charging at
whoa!
someone?
You seen it? You got a sneak preview?
Nah, just we're watching. They're still playing the trailer here, but the
I'm
rhino
hoping in
just
the full
bumps
thing.
someone.
In the full thing, Billy, I'm hoping there's a goring.
Yeah, there has to
obviously.
be. There's blood.
Look at
It's
this.
it's the first rule of movies.
I'm a simple man.
Is you don't show the gun unless it's gonna shoot. You don't show the horn.
There's blood on that horn. It gorged someone.
Oh, wait,
Here
is
we
yeah.
go. Yeah, but look.
Chekhov's
It's
rhino.
already been gored.
Yeah, but no. Here we go. See, just a bump. Just a bump.
Yeah.
All right.
I
now
guess you
I've
can't show a
seen the
goring on
movie.
television.
Yeah.
Is that rhino running mesh?
Frank Gore.
That rhino's not a rhino. Wonder whether Dan's seen any rhinos.
Probably.
It's hard. Those are the 7. That's one of the big one of the big 7.
Thought it was a big 5.
Thought it was a big 3.
See, they keep changing the number of teams and conferences.
Yeah.
I think they do that with animals too.
On Safari.
I think it says big 3, but really they say there's 5.
Today was a good day.
Are we winning
still
today?
need a game 5.
You think we need a game 5? Well, the tough thing about game 5 is we got a lot of unavailable players for game 5.
I asked Pablo, and I'll ask you now. I'd
No.
prefer you.
Y'all not paying me for this. Getting out of here. All I'm getting is occasionally get to plug my show. Right, Charlie?
What's your show?
Dominique Foxworth Show. Get
When
it
is-
wherever you get your podcasts. New episode coming out Friday. Wow. Also on ESPN2 at 2 p.m.
And who's in the new episode?
Pablo.
How does that happen?
Indeed.
How does what happen?
Pablo was great. He did a great job on
Great
our show.
No, I agree.
How
But
Tori finds out available
I
as a podcast.
couldn't have felt worse yesterday when I had done nothing personal. I come in here, we do a great show. We win yesterday. It's a win. And I'm packing up at the end, and you're all saying, like at the cool table, all right, we got a bunch of shows left. I'm going to be on your show. You're going to be on my show. And you guys are all coordinating what you're all doing together. And I'm going to my room to watch a movie and get ready for my show the next day. I felt so left out. I can't even tell you.
I mean, I've.
That's true. This is
I know.
me
I
telling you the truth.
apologize. I apologize because I owe you a home and home because of that time when I was on your show. When you invited me on your show. When that happened.
Just made me feel
Oh boy.
Never.
Has
Didn't-
that happened? Oh.
no, had not happened.
Never.
Because
never happened.
I do my show solo, but I would like to do a sit down with
Hey.
you, of course.
Well, if you're not into the group thing, then you don't have to be the group thing. Whatever. I mean,
It's a big glove chair. I mean, you both can. kinda
David
pick a
wants to
side.
have you on his show. He just wants it to be over very quickly.
But I want you to feel pleasure while it's happening.
You don't want me on your show. You have me on your show, I'll be on. I mean, yeah, you can be on my show.
I've never been on Dominique's show either.
I've never been on anybody's show.
I've been on your show, God Bless Football.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been invited to God Bless Football.
Do you
either.
want to?
Always.
You hate
What do you want to
football.
talk about? Yeah, you
That
talk
is
about
absolutely
football?
not true.
You disparage football off-season talk at any point. that
No,
you can.
I get jealous when we don't talk any baseball when we should be.
Well,
this
it's hard
is
on God Bless
baseball's
Football.
moment. But God Bless Football could do a baseball segment. There's a new baseball
That's a
segment
different
here.
show, though, Dave. That's God Bless Baseball.
That's, yeah.
Don't we have a new baseball show here?
We do.
Are we?
Jer Bear.
Yeah, Jer Bear has a whole thing.
Where'd Jared Bear go?
He was supposed to be here, and then
Hibernating.
I don't know whether he was with twigs and berries up his garolt.
What?
Huh?
I think I got it wrong.
Grundle?
Damn.
I don't think you could go up.
Twig
a
and
Grundle.
berries where?
That's what bears do to hibernate.
I know what David's getting at.
That's 100.
Do you?
Oh. I'm not-
Bears have a thing where they will clog their buttholes by eating things that are very hard to digest. And so they can hibernate and not
Have to go to the bathroom.
Defecate.
while asleep, I guess.
And you're mad about whiteboard NFL talk.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
It's called a fecal plug.
This is something that people don't know.
Also, Pablo's teaching right now.
Yeah.
He's not just jargoning.
You're welcome.
Do you know what happens when the hibernation ends? Do you know what you should never do? Ever be near a bear when the hibernation ends.
I've seen SpongeBob.
Because what comes out, it ain't great.
When do you want to be near a bear then?
While it's hibernating.
Oh.
Because you're fine. You just have to time
But then
it
what
right.
if you wake it up though?
You cannot.
Can't wake up a sleeping bear.
Do not. That's where the expression comes from.
Or at the scouting combine.
Don't poke a sleeping bear.
Caleb Williams crushed it.
He did. It's great.
And
bear.
Roma Dunze.
Oh.
Excited for that duo.
Favorite bears.
It should be fun.
Twigs and berries in the grundle.
Sam Hartman's getting a lot of FaceTime on Hard Knocks, by the way.
It's not what the
As he
grundle
should.
is.
So have you changed your feelings about the Giants? Are you optimistic about them? Because you seem to be the only one who's really committed on this Hard Knocks.
I don't think I'm optimistic about them, but I like what I'm seeing. I think that the Saquon offseason storyline made it them a really good subject for this show.
Saquon was sassy.
It's so edited. You're seeing exactly what they want you to see.
Of course it is. It's edited, scripted. I'm sure that they're doing
Scripted
takes to make
takes,
sure that they
for
get
sure.
stuff that they want to show you, but I like it.
Are you guys worried that they're doing too much with Hard Knocks? Because before it was just Hard Knocks, then it was in-season Hard Knocks. Now there's off-season Hard Knocks, and then this season's Hard Knocks is just focused on a division.
I love that
entirely.
one though. I'm locked
I'm
in on
excited
that
for
one.
that.
It just
That
feels
one's
like
gonna be
too
good.
many spin-offs.
This
More
show
show.
made me want my own team to have its own Hard Knocks.
I like that we here are complaining about too many shows.